No, what am I saying? What, this? It's nothing. Really, it's nothing, Ed. It's just, it's just Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Have a good time. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened.
Okay, you little bastards. The time has come. The moment we've all been waiting for. It's the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Alabruski. Let's go.
Hello, and welcome to the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Alabruski. Podcast that you have grown to love, to desire, to respect, maybe even a little bit. Here we are. Join us each and every week.
I'd like to think some of those things are true.
Yeah.
Find us online, thevocalminority.net. It's our very own website. And then we're on other websites run by other people. We got Reddit, we got TikTok, we got YouTube, we got Facebook, we got Instagram, Threads, and probably some black market obscure OnlyFans page where people watch us and play with themselves to it.
844-48-VOCAL.
You can call. Use your telephone as a microphone. It's a clever thing we came up with, so use it.
Boy, oh boy, did I have a message that bowled me over last night, late at night. I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and all of a sudden I get this message that pops up in my Facebook Messenger, and it is from a friend, somebody who I've known for a long time, okay? They write me a message that I was just struck down for a couple of hours. I couldn't go to sleep. I'm thinking about it. They tell me that let me preface this by saying this is a friend that I probably talk to one time a month, and I might see, 2 or 3 times a year if I'm lucky, okay? Someone I love dearly tells me that they are in California and just wanted to let me know what was going on, but had checked themselves into a facility to receive a little mental health help. That they had been struggling for a little while, and I didn't even recognize this in this person. It came completely out of the blue to me, but they were heavy thoughts, dude, of real struggle and even thoughts of, suicide.
Do we know this person?
I don't know if I want to say that or not, out of respect and privacy. But the reason I bring this up, dude, is because I was completely taken aback by this, and it just goes to show you that I think it's important to check in with people once in a while, and just maybe you guys have a suggestion of, I should ask about your mental health once in a while. Don't you think that's a right thing to do?
It's tricky because if I don't want to share my demons, I'm not going to. You can ask how you doing, Harness, like tell me really how you doing. If I don't want to share, I'm not going to. So someone's got to be willing to have that kind of conversation. That's my only point. It does no harm to try to dig a layer deeper and ask somebody, but they're not going to share if they don't want to.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I was struck also with how brave it is. I always think it's brave when people reach out for help for mental health.
Sure.
And that's something that I've always felt, and it sucks that I feel that way because we've created this society where we have no problem going to the doctor to get a broken leg taken a look at, why wouldn't we? But when it comes to mental health, a lot of the time it can make somebody feel weak or embarrassed to ask for help in that way. So it's a brave thing. I just wish there was a way. I mean, I don't know. How do I keep tabs on friends? I felt like I should have been there for this person. I know it's not my fault because how would I know? But I feel like there's got to be a way, right?
It's definitely your fault. So I hope you feel guilty about it. But listen, if you make yourself available to someone, if you let them know that I am here for you, and if you back it up by, hey, how you really doing, man? Then, like I said, if they don't want to share, they're not going to. But when they get into that moment where they do want to reach out to someone, or if they're, God forbid, in that moment of darkness, they're about to do something terrible, then you're probably the top 3 people they're going to call. So it's good to put it out there, but can you actually extract it from someone or take that burden on? Probably not. No. This is like why I hire a therapist for my problems and hire movers and Uber to take me to the airport. I don't ask friends for this stuff. Hire people.
Yeah.
Well, but there are always some people, though, that we do trust that may not just be friends, but they feel like they're family members to us, even though we may not be related.
Yeah.
And those are the people that maybe we feel comfortable confiding even some really deep, dark, troubling things, you know?
Sure. You know what? For some people, it's got to be people you trust, right? It's got to be people that you know. And then for others, is an anonymous person of just another human listening and understanding and maybe guiding is good for them too. I just feel like maybe from now on, you're right. You're not going to tell me if you don't want to tell me, but just to be able to say like, hey, let's have a real check-in, dude, and tell me how you are for real. Right. And maybe you don't even have to get into it all, but if you're having struggles, you could just share that with me. So I know I keep my eye on you, and maybe I'll check in with you once in a while more, you know.
Which you and I have that well established, because I have gone off a mental deep end the last several years, and I've leaned on Nick a lot. But not everyone has that person that they may feel comfortable with. So
yeah,
putting yourself out there, to whether it's a coworker, an old high school classmate you haven't seen, like, there's no harm in it. It certainly is a good gesture, and maybe they'll take you up on it. But yeah, don't rack yourself with guilt if you didn't see it come in, or if somebody does harm themselves and you feel like you should have known. Like, no, you shouldn't have.
It was enough to get me, I've been going back and forth. I stopped doing therapy a while ago because I didn't need it anymore, or I felt that way anyhow.
You're cured.
Yeah. I didn't think I was cured, but I didn't, when you go into therapy and you're talking bullshit to try and fill the time.
Yeah.
I stopped going because, I figured I'm good for right now,
No, and I'm joking, by the way. The point of therapy is not to be in it perpetually. It's not a chiropractor. You're not just supposed to go forever,
Yeah. It was enough to get me back in therapy, only because I thought to myself, I've been thinking lately, like, maybe I should go back. I think that may be a sign for people in your own life. Maybe you should go back. If you even thought a couple of times, like, maybe I should get back into therapy. You're obviously thinking about it, and it doesn't hurt to go, right?
Generally not.
I'm just trying to say, go to therapy, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I'm going back to therapy. And if you don't feel like you can go to therapy, because some people can't even afford therapy here in America, which is bullshit, but you can always call that 988. And on the web, they even have 988lifeline.org, where you can just write to somebody if that helps you. Somebody to talk to. Okay.
You bring up a really good point right there, the cost of therapy. My therapist, Misty, just changed. She went from a private practice to a hospital. And when I first showed up at this new place, this is like a month ago, they told me, your insurance hasn't approved therapy yet. So if you want to go, coming up in 2 days here, you have to pay for it out of pocket. And, you can then file to have it reimbursed from your health insurance or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, Misty's like $100 an hour. So how much is she at the hospital? They're like $350 an hour.
Whoa.
Wow, dude.
Like, that's outrageous. If I didn't have health insurance, you're talking. So if I'm going every week, I'm spending almost $1,500 a month on that. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, that's the whole premise of that movie, is the Joker looked for help and he couldn't afford it. Society pulled back the benefits, the meds he was getting, and just let him be on his own. And he turned into a criminal mastermind,
A lot of people are failed, dude, mentally, just because they can't get coverage medically all the way around. I mean, this country's awful for that, Although I will say it was neat to find out one of Joe Biden's great successes is that 90% of our country is covered by health insurance.
Yeah. Whether it's affordable or not is debatable, but we are doing much better with coverage. I wish our system wasn't like that,
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm almost $1,000 a month on health insurance just for myself. That's outrageous.
Yeah. I don't think I told Brewski this, but, I get these injections twice a year. Last year, these injections cost, I think they cost $68,000 a piece. Okay. This year, I found out that they went up, dude, to $90-some thousand per shot.
It just went up. It's such a racket.
Oh, of course it's a racket.
And by the way, it's a racket because of our healthcare system, because insurance companies only reimburse so much to hospitals. So hospitals will charge $50,000 for something, knowing they're only going to get paid $20,000. So they got to jack the price up artificially. And then if you try to pay directly, you got to pay that jacked up price, even though no one ever actually pays that if you have health. It's such a fucked system.
The thing that really sucks is that they have, like many drug companies, have a drug copay program. So $98,000, to be honest with you, I have fairly good health insurance, by the grace of my wife's employment. But there's always about $5,000 or $6,000 left over from that once insurance pays. So they pay 90. I'm stuck with 5 or 6. They have a copay program that if you get accepted for it, the company itself will eat that, but they're paying it so they can get tax refund, so they can get it back in taxes. Okay. Yes. For a short time, a year maybe, I didn't have health insurance. There was no copay program for me then. When they couldn't make all this money off the insurance company, like I couldn't say I don't have insurance. Can I, pay $1,000? Nope. You're screwed.
Yeah. I recently had a prescription that my health insurance company said they weren't going to cover. The pharmacy said it's going to be $300 for this prescription. And then they were like, oh, but we have a discount code, and now it's $12.
Yes.
It goes from $300 to $12 because you enter a code from GoodRx or whatever it was. Like, it's such a freaking racket.
Some of my medications I get during the month from the pharmacy are cheaper on GoodRx than through my insurance card.
Right.
It doesn't make, there's such a racket, dude.
Would you gentlemen like to know, by the way, how much my hardware costs every time I get it replaced?
Brewski has an ET heart.
No, I'm like Tony Stark, basically. I've got it's between $25,000 and $35,000 just for the device itself, which is about the size of like an old pager, but a little smaller than that.
Right. So you have a defibrillator built in. So you're talking it's $30,000, give or take, for the device or the yearly maintenance on it?
That's just for the device. The first time they put one in me, after me being in the hospital for 5 days and having these tests done and all that sort of thing, my bill, because I didn't have insurance at the time, was up to $250,000.
Jeez.
Yeah. But now, I mean, I have insurance, but yeah, $30,000 for this little thing that's implanted in the pectoral muscle and wired to my heart. I mean, I don't get it that often, but nonetheless, it's still a lot of money.
Sure. Yes. It's, it's money that some people won't be able to get the device because they just don't have the insurance or whatever.
And it's obviously not $30,000 worth of parts in your chest.
No.
They mark it up so they get their coverage and reimburse certain percentages. It's such a scam.
Yeah, some of that is for the drug research and everything it took to bring to market. I understand, but it's not near what they're making. Our point is, fuck you, healthcare system. Yes. I mean, I don't even know how we got there. Oh, therapy. Go to therapy, for crying out loud.
Do all that. Well, yes. Today is a day of sharing personal stories. I've had a lot of feedback, both from people in my real life and on the social medias, that people like the personal stories we intertwined or intermesh into all of our news stories and whatnot. And it's true. Anyone can just read the news, but we read it and we give you our take on things, and we tell a lot of personal stories on this show. Yeah. And we have a bit of a backlog going. So I thought we'd dive into some personal updates here for the audience. So if you love the personal stories aspect, that might be the entire show today. We'll see how long we all babble for.
Fantastic, dude. I'm excited for it. I like nothing more than to talk about myself.
Of course. So Nick's wearing a Dave Matthews hoodie, I see, one of an entire wardrobe of Dave Matthews clothing that Nick has. Is that brand new or is that an old one?
It's brand new, dude. This was my Prague purchase. I was recently in Prague, and I didn't buy anything for myself in Berlin.
You got to go to Europe to see your favorite band, the Dave Matthews Band.
What a trip, dude. I mean, yeah, it was incredible. We flew into Amsterdam, had a quick layover, thought about brewski, and
layover. That is legal there in the red light district. So go ahead.
Airport.
Yeah. They even had weed in the airport convenience store. So that was progressive. We flew on to Berlin, where weed was just made legal on April 1st. I think we flew in just a week after. They're still a little antiquated, where you have to buy like a subscription to a store and then go to that store. So
could you as a tourist buy it there legally, or do you have to be a resident or something?
I think you have to be a resident. it. The process takes a while, so I didn't even try. I did find out on Reddit a couple of parks I could go to and buy from street dealers.
Well, I know you had a conundrum. You can't go to a Dave Matthews concert without pot. So what did you do to get stony over?
I went to 2 of them without pot, dude.
Really?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, I didn't have any weed, dude. I didn't.
How come you didn't go to the park and just do it like the old days?
I just feel too uncomfortable, dude, with any of this. Now with all the fentanyl and everything, it was like, I just feel weird about getting my weed off the street anymore, unless it's somebody that I really know.
Sure.
But so yeah, no, I didn't smoke for either show.
No one around you, huh? No one was offering. Is that a thing at European shows? Are people smoking pot? Like, I've been to Dave Matthews in America, and you cannot avoid pot in the audience.
It wasn't like America, no. I mean, I did smell pot at times, but it wasn't anything. It wasn't a cloud, like it is at an American show. Both shows were great. I was pretty drunk for both shows, just drunk enough to really, I'm standing for 3.5 hours, dude, which as old man, concrete floor, 3.5 hours,
Yes.
So, but it was incredible, dude. The shows are a lot different in the sense of I go to a lot of Dave shows and some people will show up 6 hours early, 7, even more to get their spot. Okay. If you're going to the Gorge, you want to be front row, you get there first thing in the morning and get in line. Right. This opened an hour before showtime, which I showed up an hour early, got up to the front row both times. People that were local didn't start showing up for the concert till like 5 minutes before they started, dude.
See, now when I saw your pictures, it was clear you were in the front row, and I thought that you guys, it was a big European special trip. I thought you paid top dollar to get front row tickets. You just showed up an hour before doors, and none of the Europeans were there, so you just walked right up?
All the people in the front row that I was competing with were American. And both of these shows, cheapest Dave show I've ever been to. Yeah, and I was front row for both of them. I think Germany was like $53 a ticket, and Prague was like $62 a ticket. I mean, stupid.
Did they not have Ticketmaster there? I mean, is that why it's more? Why are they so affordable over there? That's crazy.
One of them was through like a ticket type place in Europe somewhere, and the other one I don't know. Rachel bought the tickets, but it was from a reputable place. I don't know why it was so cheap, dude. I have no idea. And I was telling Steve that both of these venues held between like 4,000 and 7,000 people, so it was a
small show. Yeah,
I don't know how they made any money, dude, other than
merch.
Merch. The table was expensive, dude. The first merch table I went to, I spent £425, and I was not an exception.
Yeah, I mean, merchandise is certainly, it's why artists fight for it in their contracts, because that's where they make a lot of money in those people like that. But does Dave, can you tell, is he sponsored by somebody? Because that'd be the other way a big name like him could afford to do smaller venues like that.
Not that I've ever noticed or seen, no. It wouldn't be obvious.
That's interesting, that it's smaller venues, people don't show up early, and the tickets are that cheap.
Yes, I would highly recommend anyone going to see one of their idols, Pearl Jam for you. I don't know, Brewski, who you would want to see up close and personal like that. But if you could go to Europe to see a show, I definitely say do it, dude. It's crazy how small they are.
My sister and I have tickets in August to see the Foo Fighters in L.A.
Awesome.
And those tickets are kind of high up.
Yep.
Those tickets cost me $185 each.
I pay $250 a piece to see Foo Fighters here in Tahoe. One of the best shows I've seen.
Oh no, I've seen them. I've seen them a few times. It's definitely worth it. But those tickets were up high. Nicki Minaj did a show here in Boston 3-4 weeks ago. I had a passenger in my car who had floor seats for Nicki Minaj.
Okay,
$450.
It's crazy how expensive tickets have gotten. It's nuts. What was the rest of the vibe there like in the arena, like security and ambiance and the crowd? Like we're paranoid about everything here in America, and everything costs a ton.
I was not scared. There was no security issues. There were plenty of security people. They were walking around. They weren't on power trips. They were quiet. They were doing their job and keeping, it's not that hard to keep that many people orderly, but they were doing it. They were keeping everyone organized.
Yeah. Metal detector to get in?
Yes.
Okay.
Metal detector to get in, and then if it went off, the hand dealy bob, just to check you again. All women could bring a purse in, or I guess men could bring a purse in too, but they did check purses, go through them.
But you could have a purse; it didn't have to be a clear bag. That's
correct
nowadays.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, great show overall. I'll tell you what, beer and food in both places was so easy to get to. I mean, if you wanted to go out and grab beer, they were quick. It was way better than any American show I think I've been at in a long time anyway,
Does Dave mix it up, the playlist, the set list between the two? And
yep.
Does he try to speak German or anything? Or you just
no, I think he may have said like Dankeschön or, a couple of, Guten Tag, something like that. But no, he wasn't speaking German. But great shows, fantastic shows. I will say that he played some of the same songs only because this is a first European tour in a while. And there's been a whole new album that none of Europe has heard. So he played, I think, 4 songs off that album in each show, and they were the same. Yeah. So, but he plays so many songs, dude. He plays for 3 hours. I, at one point, FaceTime Harness just, because I know he's a Dave fan, and I showed him, like, look at how close we are, dude. I talk about connecting with an artist. Like, it's the first time ever I can tell you that most of those band members, I was close enough where they made eye contact with me at some point in time. Dude, we had a blast. It was really fun.
Nice. What were your other observations or shenanigans outside of the concerts?
Different countries, dude, seem to really think we're idiots right now,
Not sure how far off they are. So
yeah. I mean,
did you have to tell people you were Canadian? Were you embarrassed to say you were an American?
No, I mean, I told him right away. I said, hey, I agree with you. I think this guy's a lunatic, and, this whole party is
Is that what it is? Is it all Trump stuff that they think we're morons?
Yeah. Yeah. And, over the last few years, I think especially like during the pandemic, I started seeing other countries call Americans out for, we're snobs, dude. There's one thing to think like America's number one, but to act like everyone else is nothing and live in third world countries, that's just not the case. I mean, I see things run a lot better in other countries than they run here, and you should eat a little bit of that, okay?
Fucking move there, then.
Oh, well, we did find out, dude, because of my father immigrated from Germany, that I have rights to dual citizenship.
Yeah.
And I could, take my wife with me. So I'm going to go over there and get a bunch of healthcare shit done, dude. And spend some time. It's going to be great.
That could be interesting. Go see a Dave concert, get some treatments done.
Yeah, I need some work done on my teeth. I was like, we'll go for a show, dude. We'll plan it around a show. Let's just do it.
What's interesting? There's ads that I see on the buses here in Boston.
Yeah.
That the German government has been putting on buses here where they say, hey, if you're a student and you want to go to school, come study in Germany. It's absolutely for free.
Yeah.
And you go to college and you don't have to sign up to work for them for a certain amount of time afterwards or anything like that at all. They want smart students to come over there and study and be part of the education system.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's smart on their part to have those people come over and add to their economy. It's wonderful, dude. I tell everybody that hasn't traveled. I was telling my sister, who has just pretty much been to Mexico. Okay, that's her only experience out of the country other than Canada. But like, you got to go experience a little bit, dude, and really see that some of these other countries, not only do they have great things that are so far advanced of what America is doing, but you could be an adult in Germany and just walk down the street and have a beer. And there's not, frat boys out there raping women and breaking into stores. Like we are just walking, I'm having a beer right now and no one cares. And it's not a problem. People don't litter. That's the other thing I noticed, dude. Streets were clean as can be, that people just put stuff in garbage cans. Or they call them rubbish cans over there, but come on.
It's interesting. So I know that a lot of Europe does look down their nose at us right now because of the Trump era and stuff, but did you still notice the American envy? Because when I was in England years ago, there was still that same snobbery that Americans, looking down their nose, but Simpson stuff everywhere. Friends back then was everywhere. Like they still worship our pop culture here, our movies, our music, all that kind of stuff. Did you notice that side of the America?
Yes. We went to, I'll tell you how in one way. We went to a flea market because, Rachel knows I like that kind of stuff. And she was like, I found this crazy flea market that's just supposed to have a bunch of shit that we can go look at. You're going to have a great day. We go, and there were tons of artists. We're in Berlin. So, it's all art. Anywhere you look, whether it's graffiti or architecture, art is everywhere. These people were making little paintings, and they had boxes of them that you could take home, whether they were like charcoals or whatever, but they were all American movie posters or sitcoms or American bands. They do idolize our pop culture. Yeah. Beyond David Hasselhoff, they're looking for something,
Is there a statue of that guy in the town square?
There's Berlin is like London. The last time I was there, I think I told you guys that I was just outside drinking a cup of coffee, and a fox came up to me, and I was like, "What the fuck is a fox doing in the middle of the city?" They have them everywhere. They're infested with foxes running around, dude. And so was Berlin. Animals, dude. Wild animals
foxes running around the city,
like hot women.
No, these are animals, dude. I'm telling you. Yes, they are running around the city. You should look it up. It's hysterical.
That's funny. Any negatives? Anything you saw about Berlin or Prague, Czech Republic? Right?
Yes.
Any negatives?
The whole Hitler thing was kind of a bummer, dude.
That's the quote of the day right there. The whole Hitler thing was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I was a little down. No, I don't have any. You know what? Restaurants are open late. People like to live life in different countries. It's not weird at 2 a.m. that I'm going to go get a kebab stand and get some kebabs in Prague. I love that, dude. We don't have that here. You're going to go to McDonald's. You're going to go to this. They have so many great things happening outside of what we worship in America.
Yeah, interesting. Well, how was the 18 hours of plane travel to get there?
Yeah, that's always a bitch, dude. Flying there wasn't as bad as flying home. I was worn out when we came home. We rode Lime scooters, I think I told you.
Fun.
Rachel and I just call it living that Lime life, dude, because we were driving Lime scooters around Berlin for 3 days. It's the only way we got around. And what a way to see a city, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Were
they actually Lime scooters? Literally?
Yeah.
Wow, that company, I didn't know idea the reach, because they're huge. They're all over
everywhere.
Yeah. They were in Prague too. They everywhere. And Prague is all cobblestone. We tried to rent Lime one day and we got onto the cobblestone and we were like, dude, we're going to break an ankle or something. Like, this is dangerous. So we limed it up in Berlin, but not so much in Prague.
That's my only critique of Europe. Update something. Everything's from fucking thousands of years ago.
Oh, not Berlin. Berlin is, it's beautiful infrastructure. Everything is grand in Berlin.
They built some new stuff there? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Tons. While remaining and giving homage to the past, I think, Checkpoint Charlie, do you know what that is?
Yes.
Checkpoint Charlie is just where the wall used to be, where you had to check across with the Americans sitting watching. But like right next to it now, I think is Hard Rock, Berlin. So yeah, they've added some stuff in there. But
by the way, I have a piece of the Berlin Wall.
Oh wow.
It was incredible, Brewski, because they still sell them, and it's the one thing that I wanted. You could buy a big chunk that was 11 inches long that I thought, this is a piece of art, really, that I would like to
and
have.
Everything on it, yeah.
Yes.
Is there some authenticity with that? They still have chunks of that wall? 50 years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been, 30, 40 years, right? I mean, wow.
Dude, it was huge, first of all. But second of
Yeah.
all, that is the chilling thing to think about is as you go through the city, obviously the wall is down, but there are just areas every once in a while where a section of the wall remains.
Oh,
and
I
I
was gonna
think
ask
it's,
that.
to not forget, basically.
Kind of ominous, creepy.
Yes, dude. And also to stand on one side of it, we went to a museum and learned that basically the way Rachel put it into context is where I live currently and my mom lives currently, is not that far, but that wall went up. We would have never been able to see each other until that wall fell down. Like the way that separated people is so cruel. I mean, beyond everything that was going on. So, yeah, crazy history, dude.
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember a few years ago, I forget what reality show it was, but I think it was The Amazing Race probably, because they were over in Europe. And this couple was from Las Vegas. And they commented on, it's so weird to be in a country where everything old is preserved, because we're from Las Vegas where everything old is demolished so you can build something brand new on its, on its old structure. And, they were really taken by that. And segue alert, Brewski was just in Las Vegas. See how I connect these dots?
Yes, I was. I was in wonderful Las Vegas for 5 days.
We've been talking about this trip for a while. We've been talking about Viva going in April to Vegas.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the highlight of my year every year. And
what is Viva Vegas?
It's a rockabilly festival. This is the 27th year.
It's going well.
Yeah. And it starts on a Thursday and it goes until like Monday morning. It's dedicated to rockabilly music and culture, which is a lot of early rock and roll, your Little Richards, Eddie Cochran, Gene Vincent, that sort of thing there.
Are the Stray Cats accepted there, or because they were more modern rockabilly?
No, they are actually, as a matter of fact, Lee Rocker, who is the bassist for the Stray Cats, was the headlining act at the car show.
Right on. Wow. Does this happen at one casino or one end of town? How does that work?
It happens at the Orleans, which is a non-strip casino with off-strip. And they have this huge parking lot in the back. I mean, they have 400 cars, all pre-1963, that show up for this car show every year. Nice. Yeah.
Is this drunken debauchery, or is this some mild-mannered sort of gathering?
Oh, no, it gets pretty wild.
Did you take a buttload of pictures, dude?
I took a lot of pictures. As a matter, and what's great about it is that there are bands from all over the world. I mean, Germany, England. I saw this really great rockabilly band from Japan called Johnny Pandora.
Wow. All over the world.
And the singer had this they're all on stage wearing black leather jackets, no shirts on underneath them. Like, these dudes are like models, but then the big dude had a really huge pompadour. And at one point he comes up to the microphone and he takes the comb out of his back pocket and combs his hair back. And all the girls are going crazy and everything. And
love it.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. And there's burlesque shows and burlesque bingo, and there's vendors at the tattoo room. I got my tattoo, my sailor girl there on my arm.
Yeah, let me see how great that looks, dude. Oh, she really looks good, dude. It's really, really looking nice. He did a nice job. Colors are good.
Is that a tradition? Do you get new ink every time you go to this festival?
I usually do. The year before, I got the Stray Cats logo up on my arm. Yep. Same guy did that one, did my girl there. He's from Hawaii. And then the year before that, I got 2 tattoos. I got the tiki drink and then the heart on my sleeve.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so what was the highlight for you?
You know what? The R&B show. The Friday night they do a traditional R&B show, and there's a band there from England called the Extraordinaires, and those guys are out of this world. I wish I'd seen a little more doo-wop, because I really get into the doo-wop stuff too.
Sure.
But, any shenanigans you were witnessed or took part in?
A lot of drinking and I did some dancing, that sort of stuff there. But
one of my favorite parts of this for you is your attire that you wear to the events. It's curated. I mean, a lot of thought goes into this and stuff like that. I think we mentioned on another podcast that Brewski had been putting this outfit together. So the night you send pictures to me, what room are you walking into? What event? And what are you wearing?
So the whole idea on this year was I was modeling myself after these clothes that Kevin Spacey wore in the movie LA Confidential. And so I had this sport coat made, cream in color. Yeah. And then I had this seamstress from San Jose actually make this special shirt for me. And it's a 50s type shirt, French cuffs. I found these 50s cufflinks that were gold. Yeah. And they had like a garnet in them. Nice. And then I found a gold pinky ring with a garnet in it. So I wore my pinky ring.
Fabulous pinky ring, dude, by the way. I mean, the last picture I received was of the pinky ring, and I was like, oh, damn, dude, you're looking sharp. Down to the jewelry. So you had a period correct watch on. You had a Bulova on?
I did. I had a Bulova on. I wore my early 50s Bulova, so like 51, 52.
Cream jacket, black shirt underneath, and then black slacks.
Yes, and then my black and white belt. I went a little rogue on the shoes because he wore Spectator Oxfords, but I decided not to go that route. I wore my what I call my ducky shoes.
Ah, yeah, paying a little homage to Duckster, huh?
Yeah, from Pretty in Pink.
Sure.
They're black and white, but they're definitely something he would have worn. You saw at the end of the movie and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
How far did you take the Kevin Spacey thing? Did you molest any teenage boys?
No, I did not. I did not.
No, of course.
Now, I will tell you.
He was channeling him. I'm just asking.
I did. Well, the character. It's more the character than the name itself.
Right. Oh, that's fair.
Because Jack Vincennes was a ladies' man in the movie. I worked my ass off for the singles and solo travelers event. They have this event, a meetup where it's all the singles and solo travelers and that sort of thing, and it's a big event. And I was kind of working the room a little bit, and I even had my name tag instead of the Brewski on it because it gives everyone a name tag.
It's awesome.
Any luck with the ladies? See anything?
I danced with some ladies.
Nice.
My dancing, I definitely have to. Both of these ladies I dance with are experienced dancers, so
you were keeping up though.
A little bit, yeah. The jive dancing, which is typical of 50s type stuff, it's just I'm still kind of getting my feet under me. When you're dancing with a lady, when you want her to spin, like you actually have to put your hand up so she knows to do the spin. And then there's another thing where there's a push where you have to like take her hand and put it up on your chest so she knows that when she comes back, she's going to push you back. And then you two get close and dance almost like cheek to cheek and that sort of thing. So
I feel like such a mother saying this to you, but I truly believe this from the bottom of my heart. If you should so desire, you are going to make some woman so incredibly happy with thinking she hit the jackpot with you. At some point in your life. It didn't happen this time, but I guarantee you that there is the perfect match for you. I don't have anyone else in my life that went and did the jive wearing a pinky ring, dude. There's something so fantastic and delightful about you.
It's definitely where you would meet the future Mrs. Brewski at this event. So definitely keep your radar dialed every year.
Yeah. I drank a lot. At one point, Wallace was wanting to buy me drinks, and I'm just like, nah, I'm gonna slow down for a second. He stops for a second. He says, wait a minute, Brewski. He reaches over and he starts touching my arm to see if I'm still alive. This is you I'm talking about here. You're slowing down. What's going on here?
Yeah. How late were you out each night?
Rolling in my room between 4:30 and 5.
Nice. Watch the sun come up type nights, And
you're East Coaster, so you were on West Coast time, getting home at 4 or 5 in the morning. So that's getting home at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning your time. That's nice.
Yeah, and then it's short sleep because then you want to get back for all the events happening in the afternoon, and it was a really good time. This one chick I'd been talking to for a year that obviously wasn't interested in me. I should have picked up on all the clues during the year, but I kind of figured
maybe take a shot.
And she's a pinup model, and she had photo shoots and shit like that. So the night of the singles event, she showed up when it was like most of the way finished, and she showed up, and she looked beautiful, obviously, but you could tell she'd had a long day. And she drove from Sacramento.
Oh,
She
wow.
had to get on the road from Sacramento. And
Yeah.
so,
Well, if not with her, dude, with somebody. And that's, as your mother, I am telling you that is going to happen. All right.
I appreciate that. But yeah, it was a real good time. It always is.
All right, Mom and Nick, where am I going to meet a nice person? Am I destined to be with someone nice, or am I just too much of a
You just, I think, yeah, there's a person out there that is for you. Well, where will you find them? Where you least expect it. That is that is probably my thought process.
Interesting. Well, I do have updates on my dating sagas that have been a core part of the show, for better or for worse, for the last couple of years now.
Yeah.
Well, so I have met somebody new. And it's funny because Nick, several episodes back, told me that, Harness, I think you should find someone who's a few years older than you. They're going to have the life experience, the wisdom. It would be ideal if they were a parent, but their kids were, out, over the age of 18 and out in the world.
Yeah.
And I struggle with the conundrum of dating someone in their 50s because I was like, I'm not almost 50 myself. Like, that's preposterous.
Just a mental jump to get over, yeah.
Yes, and I did get over it. And the funny thing is, so this woman, who we're going to call Kennedy, it's not her real name, but it's a reference to her real name, and we're going to try to protect the innocent on the show. And the funny thing about Kennedy was that the first thing that really appealed to me was we were talking about stand-up comedians, and she said that her three favorite comedians were John Mulaney, Bill Burr, and Anthony Jeselnik.
Okay, so good taste.
Right. And those are, especially Bill Burr and Jeselnik, I don't want to say they're offensive, but they do some pretty raw humor that a lot of people are offended by.
Sure.
And
she can take a joke, right?
Yes. And we've discussed literally on the show the fact that I'm paranoid about somebody not understanding what we're doing here and admonishing me. So I was very intrigued by the fact that she's probably not easily offended. And the funny thing was, on our first date, like 20 minutes into it, she referenced our podcast. Like, she Googled me and she found the podcast and she had listened to it before we ever met.
Oh, before you even met one time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fact that she showed up to the first date still. Well, maybe we're on to something here. So.
Jeez, yeah. She's brave, dude.
Yes. And she's been a loyal listener ever since, guys. She has listened to a whole bunch of these shows. And she's been skipping back through all of we're 130 in. She's gone back to the first ones, the middle ones. She's heard us arguing about 100 topics. One of which was, about a year ago, you guys really came down on me for telling Dottie that I loved her on the fourth date or something it was. And so I don't know how to define Kennedy because she's not my girlfriend. We're dating, but she's very much in this. She told me on like our second date, like, don't go telling me you love me on the fourth date or something. I heard this.
That's awesome. She's busting your balls. That's great.
Right. So I told her, I was like, hey, listen, I love coffee. I mean, coffee's so good. I love a lot of things. But so we're slow rolling things in some way, but we've also now spent a month together. We're on date like 15 or 16 or something. I mean, she is a smart, beautiful mother with her kids into their early 20s. She lives in the area. And she has a very tolerable sense of humor and seems to really get all of us and really appreciates the show. I mean, she really understands the dynamic the three of us have, the comedy style, the news stories, the personal stories, all of that stuff. So
one thing that all of that is fantastic. I couldn't be happier for the journey. All right. One thing that is interesting that makes me think of is this show. Finding someone who appreciates the show is obviously important to all of us because, well, we put our heart and soul into what we're doing, right? This is what I have found, that it doesn't come with still some needed communication about the show. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I established early with her, check the date on anything you hear me saying, because it could be a story from eons ago or something I've changed on, or I'm not in that scenario. But I've also said, just ask me, please. If you heard me say something, just bring it up in real life so I can either clarify, because we do turn it up to 11 on this show, and I do share things that I would never share elsewise. Yeah. Oh, you'll love this, Brewski. Speaking of things I would never share in a normal freaking conversation, I show up to her apartment a couple of weeks ago, and in her bathroom are Huggy wet wipes with Winnie the Pooh on them.
She heard the show. She knows Steve poops with wetty wipes, and she had him waiting for him. I mean, that's a fantastic thing, dude.
Right.
Oh,
and she thought
boy.
she was hilarious. You know, she found the ones with Winnie the Pooh on them and just let them there. And I go in the bathroom and I come out. I'm like, is that a joke? Like, what is that? She just starts cracking up. So, and I do want to clarify something that Nick brought up before. I don't do the entire cleanup with those things. It's just the last 1%. I'm not going to leave shit-covered wet wipes all over the place. Like, that's what Nick thought I was doing. That's not what she thinks.
Is there a bin with a lid is my only question.
In my bathroom, yes, not hers.
In her. Okay. So are you going to feel comfortable leaving what you leave, whatever it may be? It's brown of nature.
It's just the lightest little shade of little tinge of brown. And then you don't think I'm going to leave it on the top of that wastebasket, do you? I'll bury it down in there.
Wrap it in some tissue at least.
Right.
This is my thought is that maybe you should travel in your overnight bag with a Ziploc bag that you could just put it in and, bring it home, dude.
Well, I will tell you, when in the past, when I've hooked up with women, I actually, when I go in the bathroom to remove my condom and all that sort of thing,
Yeah.
I will not only tie it off, but I will wrap it in tissue paper 2 different ways, and then that condom comes home with me. I'll dispose of it outside of her home. I will not leave it. I will not leave it in her trash can. And
Because you don't want to leave DNA behind for her to do something with, or you just
I'm just weird about that. I don't want to leave it behind. I just feel weird about
That's
it.
hilarious.
Have trust issues much? Yeah.
Listen, I mean, at some point, I have to show her that I'm going to use. Like, I'm not at the taking a dump in her apartment phase, but at some point, if someone leaves wine out for you and you never take a glass, isn't that rude? So I got to figure out how to thread that needle exactly.
Yeah, you'll thread it, dude. All that stuff will fall into place. All that stuff will plop when it's supposed to plop.
Go take her to lunch at Taco Bell or something. Then you'll really be testing it.
Yeah, we're not in the having Mexican food phase yet because it's going to leave a disaster at some point in the toilet or whatever.
Yes.
But also, we're in an intimate phase, and I can't fill up on Mexican food and then perform at my A game level. So
salad, soup,
yes, a lot of salad, a lot of chicken. Keep it light. No dessert. No.
No steak or anything like that.
Oh no, I got to keep it easy breezy right now. So.
What if you find out that this is a woman that is okay with and wants and needs from you to poop with the doors open, to be able to take pees with the door open, and you said every family's different, right? Yeah.
I guess I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, but I think it's okay to have boundaries in this world. So you want to pee with your door open, go ahead, but I'm closing the door. Sorry.
But I will tell you, it was after I moved in with Jen that there were times where she would be like in the bathroom at the sink washing her face or whatever before bed. And I would be in the toilet next to her peeing.
Yeah, sure.
Now that's peeing. That's not,
That's child's play, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Now there was one time when I got a little a chill in my body and I kind of veered off to the left and some of my urine went across her bare foot. And she stops and she's like, Did you just pee on me? And the only thing I could think of was
Happy Valentine's Day.
I was hoping you you didn't notice.
You should have said, it depends. Did you like it or not?
That's different than pooping with somebody in the bathroom, and even talking through the door when someone's pooping is weird for me.
Yeah, well,
I'm glad you have some boundaries.
To each his own. But Stephen, you are in the phase of this relationship right now where this is the fun part of, relationship, getting to know someone and stuff like that. So
before I know if she wants to poop in front of me, that blissful area.
Yes, that she farts in her sleep, that she has these issues that you will learn to probably think are cute. There's so many things that my wife does that I shouldn't say so many. There are a few things that my wife does that will, that some people may be like, you think that's cute? Yeah, I think it's cute, dude. And I probably shouldn't, but I love her, and you will find that, with your partner. So go have fun, dude.
Steve, have you slept over her house at all?
Yes. We've done sleepovers at each other's
Well,
houses.
I asked because you've told us in the past that you have a bad snoring problem, and it's always an issue
Yes.
with the ladies and everything. How's that happen?
So this is funny because before we did our first sleepover, she told me, I'm really self-conscious about sleeping next to you because I snore. And I was like, oh, it's a miracle. I snore too, and I'm self-conscious about
Jackpot.
it. Right.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
we both have that same insecurity. And, I had told you guys that, I never farted in front of Dottie. I just held that forever. So I found the nice thing about this early phase where I wouldn't be ready to fart in front of somebody anyways. When she falls asleep, because she snores, I'm like, okay, she's out. Now I can let a few farts rip. I can just, if I fall asleep now and start snoring, like, who cares? She's already out. Like, it's a perfect indicator for me that the coast is clear right now.
Yes.
Yeah, well, but you got to make sure that fart isn't a heater, one of those really hot ones, Otherwise, she's going to start feeling like her back's on fire.
Right. Yeah. No, as discussed before, I tend not to stink, but they're percussive as hell. So, we'll get to that phase too.
Yeah.
Please edit this out of this part of the show, Nick.
Yeah, of course I will. Yeah. Like I said, it's a beautiful stage in the relationship. So, well,
It's not a relationship, Nick. Don't go saying that.
or the dating. You know what? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Are you jacked up on that? You think that that's weird that you're not going to define it? Are you okay with it?
Not yet, but it's at some point I feel like it needs to be defined. Like she clearly has some mental number. Like you guys have said, like a month, 3 months, whatever it is, before you're like boyfriend, girlfriend, I love you, all that stuff. Like she clearly has some number in her head. And keep in mind, guys, she hadn't dated for 25. She was married for 23 years and dated the guy 2 years. So I'm the first guy she has dated in like a quarter century since the late 90s.
It's this big.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to press things. She's got her own, little barriers that she set up, and that's fine. But I just don't know at what point do I address the elephant in the room. Because she's looked at me before and be like, don't say it. We're not just take it. I'm like, hey, all good. I'm just here.
You want to know what my thoughts are, or you don't want to know?
No, go ahead, please.
My thoughts are, and this is just, I'm not saying for you, but this is where I am personally. Yeah. I would say that I don't know that you should bring it up because don't bring it up because she's going through a process, obviously. And I don't know even that she has a number in mind, but it may just be a feeling to say, you know what? I feel safe enough to say it now because we've established this foundation, right? So that's not a number. It's just a feeling. Yeah. So I wouldn't bring it up until around the 9-month period. Listen,
are you joking?
No, I'm not joking. 7 to 9 months, I'll say that, of boyfriend and girlfriend, because this is why. Yeah. If you are dating right now, you know that you're only dating her, right? Yeah. She knows she's only dating you. So at this point, it is just a label. Like nothing else is different. So just leave it until she feels comfortable. And you guys are going to know when you're both feeling that way anyway, right?
So I just smoke her out. Just wait
I would think though, but by then I'm sure things will have shaken out on their own. Because like you said, she's a smart woman. She's probably also emotionally smart as well. So I think that when everything feels right, you two will figure it out. It'll shake out on its own without you having to say, hey, what do we got going on here?
Yeah. No, it's fair. Listen, this woman and this relationship, this thing we're doing, whatever that's called, it's different than anything I've done before. And as my therapist told me recently, if you want different results, why don't you try doing something different? So
it is different for you in a lot of ways, and you don't have to tell me what they are, but everything's been different for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think part of it is her age. She's at a different maturity level that I got to stop these late 30-year-olds I've been with for the last 20 years of my life. So I think there's benefits in multiple ways. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, dude. I wish you well with Kennedy. Obviously, so does Brewski. And, well, keep us posted. Keep us abreast is how I will say it.
I'll keep 2 breasts nearby and see what comes to them. And, start the clock. Let's see how long it takes before we, declare whatever it is. So we'll see what the experiment goes. And then I just have one last thing I got to throw out here because we're running over. But this is my swan song from this studio. When we are done with
What?
today's episode, I am tearing the studio apart and I am moving tomorrow.
No way.
Last one, dude. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Is
I
there
don't know
any
about the last
excitement?
But yeah. No, listen, this is a big deal for me. I've been living in Tahoe, minus that little 3-month terribleness that happened a couple of years ago. I've been up here 17 years. I mean, this feels like my home. And I have said on the show many times that I'm a fan of California. You know, I'm an advocate for this state. I do believe it is the best state in the union. I think there's so many cool things about California, but I'm leaving. I'm moving down to the Nevada side. I'm going just down to the valley, the Carson Valley, just outside of Tahoe. It's 20 minutes outside, you know, but I have this mental thing where I'm leaving Tahoe. I'm leaving California. I'm going to be a Nevada kid. And I do get to be a swing voter, though, this fall. It's not a staunchly blue state next door there, so at least I get to have some impact on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this house I'm in, I've been renting, and it's being sold. I had no choice, and so I had to make the hard choice of. I looked at all the houses up here, and essentially I can pay way more for a shitty 1970s house, or I can pay way less down there and get literally I have a brand new home. No one has ever lived in it. I'm the first person moving in.
Oh, that's
So
great.
I'm excited about the house, you know, and I'm near the dirt bike trails. I can jump on my bike and just ride to the trails. So there's a lot of I'm excited.
What about commute to the studio?
Yeah, so honestly, to getting to the radio station, it's going to be about the same because I'm about 25 minutes away from it on this corner of Tahoe.
Okay.
So that'll be about the same. Now, getting my son to school every week, that's going to be a little bit further of a drive. So, but I'm looking at like a 35-minute drive. And
Gotcha.
you know, I was in Seattle all those years. 35 minutes is nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing, dude. Come on.
You can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a little adjustment curve potentially coming, but Crosby seems excited about it too. And so yeah, the rest of my house is already torn apart. I left the studio today so we could do one last episode as it is. But when we hit done here, I'm tearing this place apart, and tomorrow morning I'm moving down to Nevada.
Ah, good for you.